The survey results very pleasing, yeah. This was a survey that we ran just on sort of topping time to get an impression of the confidence of the industry, and needless to say, the good prices were making people very confident about their future and their prospects. Confidence levels increased enormously on the 2007 survey that we did. So that was very pleasing. I think the survey revealed one or two other things for us as an organisation to be thinking about. A slight tendency towards shepherds lambing their stock a little bit later. We'll need to reflect on what that may mean for us. And some interesting comments on what the sheep farmers saw as being their big drivers in respect to how they were planning their future. Well, I think there were two elements of that. There were the ones that you would have expected to be there given the time that we did the survey, which was real concerns over the discussions that are kicking off in relation to CAP reform and what that might mean for the industry, particularly those most dependent on LFAS payments and single farm premium payments in the less favoured areas. So they were to be expected there, I think. The ones that were interesting, and I think is a growing theme that I've picked up from a number of conversations since, is the concern over young people coming into the business and getting skilled labour to work in the sheep sector. That I think is sort of smouldering away quietly for us as an issue. The other one, again, that we asked for an observation on was the discussions that are taking place in relation to climate change and greenhouse gases. And I think they were registering with people, but they were not a concern for people at the current time. I think they have bigger worries that they're trying to address, namely where the policy is going in relation to support. Since November, the prices have moved even further forward, and very pleasing for the sheep sector that they are moving like that. If you start to unpick them, the core driver for that has been the reduction in production across Europe and elsewhere in the globe, so that tighter supply is really kicking through into improved prices. Just at the moment, I think there's probably a little bit of extra heat in the prices because Easter is late and the volume of product available coming up towards Easter period is getting tighter all the time. So I think when we get into the new season, I think we'll continue to see strong prices and firm prices, but I think a little bit of heat might come out of it. But in terms of history and the level that the prices are, we will continue to see what are broadly historically good prices. Some of it has been passed on to the consumer. Unlike the beef sector, where the retail price has been very flat for the past 12 months, the retail price for sheep meat has increased. I think the retail price index that came out just this past week or so is showing about a 12.5% increase annually in the retail price for lamb. So there has been some movement in there. It is what is a concern there is that lamb is becoming very expensive compared to the other meats that it's up against. And I think we will start to see some resistance, and I suspect if we do see any increase in lamb production globally, and I can't see that happening in the next 12 or 18 months, then I think we may see some retail price movement. One thing that I think is also helping the sector a wee bit is that there is some life in sheepskins again. Sheepskins and wool prices, of course, are moving forward again on the same argument. There aren't as many lambs, there aren't as many sheep about, not as many sheepskins, not as much wool. That's putting a bit of life into that sector, and that's helping to sustain the improved price as well. It's taken a while for the cattle prices to start to move, but they have certainly moved over the past, sort of 8 to 12 weeks or so. Again, that's a reflection of the volume of cattle that are on the market. We've had quite high slaughter numbers in 2010 and in January and February of 2011. So that has put a little bit more beef onto the market, which I think in some respects the processors have had challenges in moving that through the chain, and that might be part of the reason why the retail price for beef hasn't moved as quickly. What we're beginning to see now is the supplies tighten up, as many of us have been talking about for a wee while now. Calf registrations in the UK and in Ireland beginning to deliver this reduction in sort of 18 months to 2-year-old cattle, and that's beginning to drive the price forward. In terms of exports, deliveries into the UK, I think we will not face particular challenges there. A lot will depend on what the Irish do, because they are their biggest supplier to the UK. And Ireland have as big, if not a bigger problem than we in the UK have in relation to the volume of stock they have of slaughter age. They managed to export quite a lot of store cattle, of yearling cattle, last year into the Mediterranean countries. Italy and Spain were very interested in buying store cattle. So that, along with their reduced calvings, has reduced their volume. So Ireland will have product they will deliver into the UK. They will not particularly want to sell it at distressed prices, and they won't need to sell it at distressed prices. If we're looking elsewhere for supplies to come, it's difficult to see who can make up the volume. Brazil is still battling with the issues over registration and delivery into Europe. Argentina doesn't have a lot of beef. America, they made a bit of progress over the past 12 months in relation to their access to Europe, but I can't see them putting lots of beef in. So I think, again, general tightening of supplies will help the beef price all the way through 2011.